Oof,
Yes.
that's a lot of fun trying to set this up. Okay, all right, we're live as we're gonna get. Um, so Melanie, you want to conduct the counseling session first, and then the precept, or do you want me to do the precept so that your mom can also know what that is all about?
I think whatever you recommend, we'll go with that. Probably the latter.
Okay, so I think I'll give your mom a rundown about what's going on. Is that okay? About the previous counseling sessions that we've taken people with in orange in Halloween costumes. So she's like, "What's happening?"
I was telling her about counseling, and she was like, "Oh, how are you liking it?" And I was like, "It's actually with a Buddhist monk, and it's going really well." She's like, "What? What are you talking about?" I was like, "They do ask you for water, and they are awesome. Like, I'm gonna ship them some water when it's
Maria.
Maria."
Maria. Okay. So we'll start with that. We'll start nice and slow, so your mom is well informed about unfolded, what is happening today, and how we proceed on in the near foreseeable future. So my name is Venerable Chidao. I'm 37 years old. I've been a monk for 8 years. Next year will be my ninth year, so that's almost a decade. I went to school for human development for counseling. I've worked as a legal and medical interpreter, serving all areas of law and medicine over the past 18 years. Um, I now teach for free and conduct counseling one-on-one sessions around the world. Um, I am currently training Venerable Lee, who is 21 years old, who is right behind me. He's given up everything, living the celibate life, no drugs, no alcohol, no cheating, lying, killing, and stealing. That's what the precept is about, and that's what happens when we take the precepts. No different than the Ten Commandments.
Oh.
We also have 10 precepts, but five is basic, and then the other five is like for like the super women, supermen that want to, perhaps even sleep on the floor, refrain from entertainment. Um, so Venerable Lee is actually going to be disrobing at the end of this month, concluding his training, and I'm scheduled to travel overseas in December. And at the time of this talk, we're in Miami, Florida right now, and we actually just got settled into our room, which smells like cigarettes. We have no preference. We have no preference as monks, so we're lucky to have a roof over our head. The monks are typically in the forest, getting bit by mosquitoes and biting our tongue, trying to pass through the day. So previously, Melanie reached out to me at the beginning of this year about what's been going on in her relationship with Austin, and then we took a break. I introduced therapy when we first started, behavioral CBT, who are going through things, have stresses in their life, or experiencing depression or anxiety. Those are examples. It helps a person not blow things out of proportion and not jumping to conclusions without evidence. So cognitive behavioral therapy is utilized by all therapists and medical doctors. They all are made aware of CBT, and majority of them are trained, and they also deploy that in their practice. So in essence, I'm teaching all of the students across the world to be their own doctors, because philosophy says if you're not your own doctor, then you are a fool. So it would be wise to know when the mind is tripping and know how to deal with it effectively in the moments that things are unfolding in one's life. And at the current time, we've been made well aware of Austin and her, the natural flow of the relationship, the fluctuations up and down, as seen in our relationship, especially at a young age, being young moms and young dads, with the existence of two kids now, and the introduction of medication. We're now going through that process and trying to get a lot of missing information over the past couple months about the individual context, information about history, addiction, trauma, abuse, any and all of that. And so that's where we're at. Do you have any questions so far?
No, no. Mm-mm.
Okay. Where would you guys like to start? I think we'll start with the counseling session first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Speak now or forever hold your peace. No, I'm just kidding.
You can start with communication issues. Start with I don't talk to my daughter often. My daughter don't talk to me often, or usually communication issues in family is most pressing and prevalent.
We don't communicate. We don't talk. I think the only time we actually talk is when, if I'm going to come up here to visit, or if she's going to be coming to visit, or we're planning a family gathering of some sort. But we don't really talk about how she is, how she's doing. And whenever we try to talk, I see that she doesn't have how I speak to her or what I say to her. Because in some areas it can be very direct, and some other areas I think she's afraid of what I'm going to say. So before I can even say something, she'll, like, I don't know. I want to have a good relationship with my daughter. I want to be able to help her. We're 460 miles away from each other. We probably see each other 3 times a year, and we probably talk like once a month, maybe.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So Melanie,
I know that. Mm-hmm.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I know that she's hurt a lot. I know that she suffers a lot, and she doesn't say anything to me because she doesn't want to worry me, and she doesn't want me to overact because she's my life, and I'm going to want to, explode and take everything down that's hurting her or that's causing pain or making her cry. I want to fix it. So I try to just give her space. And I don't know if in doing that, I'm actually pushing her away.
So it's okay. That's all right. We might cry with you. So it's it's difficult. Life is short. You got to make the best with the time that you have, especially with family together. And sometimes
No, baby puppy.
people don't reach out, and then we have this guessing game, right? We play what we call in CBT the fortune telling game. I don't know what she's doing. So Melanie, what's going on? How come the long pause in communicating with your mom?
Let me see. I think there's definitely like anxiety that surrounds it. Like, I don't know how it will be received, and also I don't know. I feel like I kind of got away for a reason. And a lot of the things that are important to me, they don't align much. Like my lifestyle and her lifestyle, they're just different. Do you know what I mean? There are certain things that are triggering to me that remind me of my childhood, so it's easy for me to avoid them. So some of the things I might say trigger you, so you just don't. Like actions, words, certain things, yeah, definitely. I just feel like, and then also I keep a lot to myself because I don't want to hear others' opinions or like I feel like I can just figure it out. It's better if I just figure it out.
Right.
I don't feel like there's anybody I can trust to tell like how I actually feel, like what I think.
Any specifics that you can think of, or do you want to share so that your sometimes you're like, so people are lying to themselves. That includes me. Everyone, pretty much, is blind to themselves to the things that they do and what they say. So it takes perhaps a therapist or someone from the outside to look in to be like, this is what you do, and when you do it, it makes me feel a certain way. So sometimes parents are not aware of their thought, speech, or action could affect the child, and you just so happens to be a very intelligent person, which is emotionally intelligent, where you can pick up even the slightest eyebrow kicking up, and you're like, oh hell, she's about to this is about to go off right now. You know what I mean? Some people are just that hyper vigilant, and they look for cues and clues to make their guesses in their head about what's about to unfold, and then it unfolds, or so they think. A lot of anticipation. So, is there any particulars that you like to address, or that your mom is made aware of it?
Particular, like, behaviors?
That is triggering to you, or things that she might be not even aware of it. So I think that I'm not even aware of it. So Venerable Lee's like, hey, you're tripping right now.
Let's go, Venerable Lee. Yeah, definitely I would say, let me think. I think for the most part, it's like small things that just take me back to when I was little and out of control. You take it like personally. Like it's something I have against you. It's just that, like when it comes to me going to visit or anything like that, like I tend more to put my kids first. So like their comfort, them getting the attention that they need, like that to me is just the most important thing. You slammed your finger in the door? Did you get hurt? What happened?
I think that she's afraid of hurting my feelings. And so she doesn't say a lot of things because she doesn't want me to cry. She doesn't want me to hurt. But by the same token, I want her to trust, and I think I want to earn her trust. So that's why we're here talking to you, because I want to start to take those steps towards being a better parent to her.
Right. Right.
And my son said to me, Mom, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but maybe she doesn't want to be around you because you trigger things on her that it's not healthy for her. So she stays away for that reason, and not to hurt your feelings, but it's just how she survives.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Okay, sorry. Carmen, herself? I didn't give her an ice pack.
For Maria, do you think perhaps your jobs or things in the past have conditioned you to respond or speak in a certain way? Sometimes not what we say is how we say it. And do you recognize, or with certain people in that we come off automatically in a certain way?
Yes, I think so. I think that sometimes the HR side of me comes before the parent side of me comes. I'm thinking of reacting differently instead of getting upset or feeling that anger come on. I'm trying to diffuse it by just telling myself, don't say anything, just stay quiet, just breathe through it, let it pass, don't overreact, and that's just in general. And so I think that if I listen more to, and not necessarily have an opinion and truly listen, perhaps it could be the beginning of something.
Very good.
Okay.
I'm not crying. So you were in the middle of saying triggers.
So that's, I guess, some people, like my father-in-law, will always say, they're kids. Like, their comfort doesn't matter. You cook this, they're going to eat that. You do this, like, you tell them what to do. And okay, I think I agree with that to a certain extent, but maybe it's like because of my childhood things, like, that's just what I am focused on. I want them to be put first. You know what I mean? So when I go out of town, families or whatever, and I see that the kids are just running around doing whatever the hell they're doing and they're not being supervised, and the grown-ups are just drinking alcohol and doing their own thing, to me that is not, I don't enjoy that. I don't get any satisfaction from it, you know what I mean? And then what ends up happening is I'm the babysitter. All of a sudden I'm taking care of all of the children, which is okay because I like children, but not all the time all of these children have the same values, have the same respect, all of these different little things that go into it. My kids are very, very sweet, compassionate. They're understanding. You can talk with them. They're good at reasoning. So it's easy for me to communicate. Big one. Like, I feel like that definitely sets me apart, not only in family circles, but like other circles also. Do you know what I mean? It's like, for me, I want to make sure that I'm a good parent and I'm providing a good example and that I'm supervising my kids and making sure that I'm not doing things that are going to jeopardize their safety, their health, their mental health, you know, all of those things.
Yeah, kudos to you for being this young and vigilant about that aspect, because most parents don't. You know, if they were to write a book, it would be called The Art of Not Giving a Shit. To keep it straight and real and blatant, and not a lot of parents pay attention to small details to their child's growth and development, and that's very detrimental later in life, you know. So how do we bridge this gap there with so much history, the richness of the history that lies with both of you, coming now at this age and stage in your life? What are the things that you guys want to work on in order to slowly bridge the gap? The importance of bridging the gap. I think I was speaking to a friend. Oh no, I was talking to my cousin Andy last night while driving 4 hours down to Miami. And Andy's always been a deep philosophical person. He's the only cousin I have in the United States. I'm the only child in the family. And his words were, make the best out of the time that you are given. And I thought that really slowed me down as I was driving. And of course, I think we all know that we don't know how long we're going to last. And the Hispanic culture and the Asian culture holds great importance on family and cohesion, just how they're glued, or how they should be glued, in times of festivities, birthdays, gatherings. That's what makes us right. That's what's right about Hispanic and Asian cultures, is that they're very close knit. They share things. Sometimes they keep it a little too closed, you know, and they're like, yeah, well, you shouldn't tell people this, you shouldn't tell people that. We may lose our reputation as the family, as the Rodriguez, as the Gomez, as the, you know, so on and so on. But I'm wondering, I'm pretty sure that you both thought about this to yourself, by yourself, during the gap. And you're like, well, what if I tried this? What if I do this, that? All the what ifs, the modalities and mode of living, and see if my mom would respond a certain way, and see if Melanie would respond a certain way. So I'm curious as to know the things that you have come up with, the creative things that you have come up with to yourself, by yourself, before today.
I don't know how much you know about me, so I'm going to give you a brief
summary
of who I am. So I wasn't raised by my parents. I was raised by my grandparents. And growing up, the memories that I have are of always being, I guess today's word would be bullied by the cousins. I didn't know my father. I didn't live with my mom. I was 11 years old. I was very spoiled, I guess, because I was raised by my grandparents, and so my relationship with my mother wasn't great from the beginning. I didn't want to shower, so my first experience with her was her. I'm sure to her she spanked me. To me, is she beat the crap out of me, and it kind of just pushed me and pushed me away. So when I got married and I had my children, I promised myself that I would stay in a marriage because I didn't want my kids to be without their mom and dads. I wanted to be the opposite of what I grew up like. So I see Melanie is a lot like me in certain ways. My whole world were my kids, just my kids, my kids, my kids. I didn't let my kids go visit my mom because I already know how she had that temper, that attitude. I left home when I was 17. And I didn't want my kids to go through that, because some of it, in comparison to discipline from country to country, they're harsh, I didn't want them to go through what I went through, so I sheltered them, I kept them away, I guess I took that away from my mom. Till this day, I'm very resentful because I feel like the love that she has for me is different than the love she has for my other siblings. I feel like I was the black of the sheep of family because I married a man who was older, who had been already married twice. When that relationship didn't work out and I started to be unhappy in our relationship, and my husband at the time was working out of town, he could do whatever he wanted to do and I did whatever I wanted to do. So we kind of had an open relationship. And I think that that's, I'm sorry for my children because when they were little, like Josephine and Carmen, I was that parent. But then there came a time in my life when they got older and they were like their teen years that I went out a lot and I partied a lot and I had a lot of friends over partying and there was a lot of drinking. And so I think that perhaps when I needed to be there at that age, I wasn't. I was there when they were younger. And then I met somebody else who is now my current wife, and my daughter went from sleeping with me under my armpit to not being sleeping with me.
You not coming home anymore.
Yes, and so I feel like I've done a lot of damage to my daughter. And so Hispanics believe that you sow what you reap, or perhaps my daughter's going to be feel towards me the same way that I feel towards my mother, resentful because I do more for my son who lives in town. I hang out with him most of the time. We do a lot of things over the weekends, and she's 400 miles away. I get to see her 3 times a year. And so I could see that she would be resentful because I would be resentful because I'm resentful when I'm not when I see my mother do for my other siblings and she doesn't do for me. And I want to fix that with my daughter. I don't want that to continue, I guess I want to break that cycle and be better to her and my grandchildren because I'm missing out on my grandchildren too,
Yeah. Yeah, this fulfills my wishes in my heart because of what Austin told me about the disparity with the families being together. With you and your family, and then Austin and his family, like that whole mess. And then that's why I jumped on this right away because I'm like, yes, this is my opportunity to start the gluing process together, to bring them together and figure out what's been happening here. Golden opportunity. Melly, do you have anything to say after hearing that?
No.
What were
Do you validate those feelings? Do you validate those feelings? I mean, am I,
No.
I don't want to make up stories in my head and feel like, oh my God, this is how Melody feels, and Melody completely doesn't feel that way,
No. I think your concerns are valid, and I agree. I think I don't disagree with you.
It's very legal.
Cannot confirm nor deny.
What are the expectations that you both have for each other?
I don't really expect anything. I don't ever really do.
Are you
Are you
sure?
going to be disappointed?
Huh?
Are you sure?
I think I have like hopes, wishes, dreams, but I don't ever expect.
So, what are your hopes for or your wishes? Yeah, I wish my mom would. Dot 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 dot. Let's hear them.
I'm not sure. I think she's. I think if I had to choose anything to wish to change, I would just maybe a little slower to be angry.
Yeah. Don't we all have that?
Okay.
Any more? Come on now. There's a lot of wishes. I mean, I wish my mom would. I wish a lot of things my mom would. I have a long list for my mom. Nonetheless, you.
I would say definitely just would hope that she was slower to anger, and that my mom is very, very blunt, and as soon as she gets a thought, she will just let you or whoever know what that thought is.
Let me ask your mom something real quick. Maria, HR for which department, like in occupation and work? What?
Healthcare. We're in the healthcare business.
Oh, so it's stressful and HIPAA and wrong date of birth and wrong name, wrong patient, wrong procedures. You've seen it all.
Yeah, we see a lot of dysfunction. Our company, we can hire from minimum wage to doctors and nurses, and I deal with a lot of individuals who are depressed and suicidal. As a matter of fact, we've lost a couple of them to suicide. A lot of abuse, physical abuse, definitely psychological abuse. I've had people come to my office and ask if I could be their emergency contact, if I could please dial the number from them, because they don't even have the strength to do that. So I think that I am who I am out there and what I do to help others, but I can't help my daughter. I'm not the person that my daughter's going to call. But others will call me, so I'm just trying to be there for her, and I don't know how. So if it means not being so blunt, if it means just listening, sitting back and just letting her speak and not have a solution, because maybe when she's calling me, she doesn't want me to fix it. But I'm used to people coming to me because they want something from me. They want me to fix it. And so automatically when I'm talking to her and I'm listening to what she's saying, and I'm already thinking of a solution. Mm-hmm. I'm already putting something in place without me taking her feelings under consideration or even asking if this is what she needs. But I think Melanie has a lot of pride that she doesn't expect. Like she said, she doesn't expect. She'll never ask me for anything. Mm-hmm.
At the current time in your life, Miss Maria, are you dealing with anything in regards to your own relationship? Anything that I should know about? Any stresses that could affect the effectiveness of you being a mom or coming back into the picture? Anything that's pressing right now with work, or like 3 MDs that wants to jump out of the window, two RNs that want to quit?
No, I would tell you that I often say this to my children and others. Life is hard when you're young. It's really hard trying to figure out and navigate through it all. But as you get older, I'm 52 years old. It's different, you know. I think that my spouse is younger, so I think when it comes to period talking to those that are close to me, it's just in general I'm terrible. But I don't have the patience. I don't have the patience that I do have at work. I don't have it. It's like as soon as I walk out of the building, I clocked out because I listen to everybody's issues. That when it comes to my own personal issues with my own personal family, I'm like, oh my God, how many times I gotta tell you, you know, that kind of thing.
I see. Let me ask Venerable Lika if you have any questions. So you guys buy one, get two free. So you buy one monk, you get two free. I'm just kidding. Y'all don't. Venerable Lika, do you have any questions that I may have missed? Any curiosity or exploratory questions? We all have mommy issues, by the way. I have mommy issues and he has mommy issues too. So with experience, you know, we're able to scan our head to see.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but if I think of anything, I'll let you know.
So what I think so far with the information that I have is, number one, Miss Maria, you're very intelligent, and your daughter inherited that genes. Now with intelligence comes this. You're Catholic, right? Miss?
I'm actually, I guess I would say a Christian because I believe in Christ, but
okay, all right.
My lifestyle doesn't. I haven't been
She has a wife.
Yeah, I'm in a same-sex marriage.
Okay.
And so I do not have a religion that I followed. I kind of believe in spiritual. My mother raised us, for the better part that I can remember, is Jehovah's Witness, which if you know anything about that belief, it is just so strict, and there is just life and death, and that's it, you know? And so I think part of the reason why I keep to myself and why with Mel, I think it's a learned behavior, why I can see why with Mel stay away from me, is because when my mother talks to me, she wants to preach to me, she wants to tell me, I don't like anybody telling me, and so when it comes to religion, I guess you would think you would say it as meditate, you know, having a sense of knowing that there's a higher power, you know, and meditate and talking to God, whoever or whatever being is out there. And so I do that. I don't really have a spiritual.
Okay. All right.
Outside of that. Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. First of all, she's LGBTQIA plus. So whoop whoop. I am very outspoken in advocating for LGBTQIA plus. So if you ever look at my TikTok, I got like 1 million followers on there, and I drag this wonderful, beautiful rainbow umbrella out in the middle of the streets in orange robes and advocate for you guys. And then at Pride events, I show up to Pride and make a very big deal out of it, because right now
you should come to Pride in Corpus Christi.
Yeah, right now.
Big parade.
Right, I want to go to Texas soon. Right now we have 41 states with 521 legislation against LGBTQIA plus.
Yeah,
so,
it's scary how it's turning.
So they're about to meet the next Reverend Al Sharpton of Buddhism.
Wow.
That's this guy. Okay. So very intelligent mom gives birth to very intelligent daughters. Intelligence is like a double-edged sword. What the Lord gives, he takes, and what he takes, he gives. We all can agree on that. The more intelligent we are, the more ingenious ways we get ourselves in all sorts of troubles. We're more prone to anger. So is Austin too. Austin's very intelligent. And we're able to understand the point, the concept, and solving problems. Solving problem is a gift. my goodness, do we need more people that can solve problems and quickly? Some people you ask and they're like, come on, Felicia, I need an answer. People are dying. um, so I see some of the areas to work on. Is there any more pertinent information you feel that would help me piece together a good recommendation?
She needs to mention how she even got with my dad, like how all of that even transpired, because it was not everybody meets somebody. Also,
so when we said dad, which is previous a previous married father.
Well, the only my only marriage to a male, her father, the only time I was married, I was really young. I was 17 years old. He was 27 years old, 28. He was 10 years older than me. I remember I just came to this country. I actually left home because this is the human being that birthed me and loves me, and she's going to treat me like this. I'm out of here, right?
Right.
And so then I kind of started to experiment. I wanted to experiment, but I was afraid to experiment. So I wanted to experiment with drugs. He was actually friends with my mom. And when I was in high school, my senior year of high school, he would come around and, I'd be walking home and he would pull up like, hey, I just happened to be going down the road. I saw you, blah, blah, blah. Anyways. So then he decided that he was my friend, my buddy, talked to me kind of thing. And so then I expressed to him how I was experimenting with drugs. And he said, oh, don't do that. You can't trust anybody. What usual individual would tell you that, I don't know. Anyway, so next thing I know, eventually I ended up getting involved with him, I thought he was a very intellectual person, and I was mesmerized by the things that he would say to me. I mean, I couldn't believe what he was saying, and he kind of swept me off my feet just by the way his vocabulary, just by the knowledge this man had. Maybe because I was so young and naive. And so anyways, I was Jehovah's Witness, so I knew that you can get involved with a married man. I knew that you could not get involved with, no physical or of any sexual kind of way. And my experience with him was not it was a bad experience because I was forced to it, and I cried, and I didn't want to have anything to do with him, and I went home. And I just felt terrible, but I couldn't go to my mother to tell her what just happened to me. And he begged and begged and begged and said he was sorry, but I didn't want to have anything to do with him because he just took something from me. And I was just pretty much raped at that point. So I got in trouble at work because, I was in the path of bad friends, and my friends ended up stealing from the store. And so they were interviewing all of us, and I was scared. So who do I call? I call him. And so he came back into my life. And then eventually I ended up marrying the man because I ended up falling in love with him, kind of stuck syndrome, I guess, kind of thing. And I had children with him, and my children are my life. And so that went that path. My relationship with him did not end well either. At the beginning of the relationship, he was very abusive and very controlling, and he didn't let me do anything. And if I went to the store, I couldn't look up. I had to look down. If anybody thought I was pretty, I was, everything in the book that you can think of. Later on, I kind of woke up one day and said, screw this, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to be different. And so I kind of stood up to him, and he kind of I became equal to him for a little while. We kind of started practicing and going back to the religion and kind of go on that spiritual better for both of us. But then he ended up getting hurt at work, and he started taking a lot of medicine. So now he became a pharmaceutical junkie. And when he became a pharmaceutical junkie, the abuse came back. Not only just the emotional, the physical abuse, but the sexual abuse came back too. And as the kids got older, I would always think they can't hear, they don't know what's going on because it's happening behind doors. But the kids knew because my children tell me now, and it took for my children to tell me. They were, I think Melanie must have been like 15.
I was in 10th grade.
And for both my children to tell me, Mom, you have to leave Dad. He's no good for you. Because I had told myself when they were 18, my goal was, and I was told them that once my children reached 18, I was going to leave. And I was going to have nothing to do with him. But my children were the witness to physical assault. And the police came, and when they put a restraining order on him and he couldn't come close to me for a year, that's when I was able to break away from 20 years of marriage.
But it took forever. She would leave him, and then he would come back, and then kick him out, and then he'd come back.
And I think that I did more harm to my children than I did. If anything, that's what I did. Mm. And then I got into this relationship and literally abandoned my daughter because she told me in counseling. And I never thought about it because at that point I felt like I'd done nothing but be in this marriage for 20 years and raise my children that it was all about me. It was time for me. I was thinking about me. And I think that was very selfish of me. But of course, it's the 12 years down the line that I realized that I wasn't there for my daughter when she needed me the most.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry you went through all that.
But I'm here now, and I want to amend that, and I want us to have a rich life of, happiness, and to look at the glass half full.
Yeah.
And leave all that in the past because it's in the past, and I refuse to be the victim of it, and I want to rise from that, and I want my daughter to never be in that situation like I was, to make wiser decisions. Because by the time the knowledge came to me and by the time I realized that, I've destroyed a lot. And I don't want her to make the mistakes I made. And I want to be close to my grandchildren. I don't want my grandchildren to be the way my children are with my mother. They're not close to my mother. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think there was also worth mentioning, because we talked about this a little bit, Venerable, when I was pregnant and those things transpired of me just losing absolute control over my physical body. You know what I mean? And I was doing not nice things. I struck Austin. So that wasn't nice, but that night, I think one of the things that transpired that it's probably been the hardest thing to kind of overcome, is my mom was there, and, I was pregnant, and I was like, something's not right. The story's not adding up. I'm going to go drive by this place and see if these claims are in fact true, or if this is just, if I'm being played here. You know what I mean? And so she was like, no, you need to trust him. He's a good man, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll drop you off. I'm going alone. Like, I'm going to still go check for my own peace of mind. The whole time she's telling me this is ridiculous. He's not going to be over there. He is, this is Austin. And I'm like, all right, well, let's see. We drive by and I see that he has lied to me. And before she can do anything, I've already jumped out of the car. She didn't even put that thing in park yet. And I was already out of there. Just so broken up, like, damn, he really just fucking lied to me. What an a-hole. So, and at that point, I had already like just jumped into the react mode and was not thinking clearly whatsoever. So, of course I call him and I'm like, where are you? What are you doing? Oh, we're just, we're here at this other place, blah, blah, blah. I said, really? Because I'm outside and I see the party bus out here, And he's like, oh, yeah, we came here for a minute and, my brother lost his wallet, so we're just helping him find it. Like, oh, really? So he comes out and I lose it. Which is horrible because it's all of the male population and his side of the family was there, bearing witness to me losing it. You know what I mean? So very shameful. And I can hear Austin's father yelling at me, like, stop it. And I was trained, Venerable. I did BJJ, I did boxing, I did all of the things. So I was hitting him with the 1-2s, uppercuts, cross, and then I would hit him this way and then I would backhand him that way. It was so bad. It was horrible. So I know as a parent, like, seeing your son go through that, you're probably like, what the hell? But what I didn't expect is his dad to attack my mom.
So when that is happening, I'm locked in this because we had a new car. I can't handle adrenaline, right? So my adrenaline starts kicking in. I can't even open the door to let myself out because the door's locked. I finally let myself out. Melanie is like 7.5 months pregnant, big old stomach, and I'm running across the parking lot to go stop her because she's going off on Austin. Now, his dad has jumped in and he's going after Melanie. And I am trying to push him, like, what are you doing? She's pregnant. And so then his dad comes and pushes me on the vehicle.
And he bruised her up. It was horrible.
So now the attack has turned into me because this is my daughter.
And which triggered me because I'm like, every single man wants to just beat this lady up.
So that kind of disconnected the family as well, because when my son saw what happened to me.
Because it was horrible. She was all bruised up. And it was like, wow, we just didn't expect that.
Which I was very proud of myself because normally I would have reacted and I would have kicked and I would have done all that. But the mature side of me, I guess because there was no alcohol in me and there was alcohol in them, I just, okay, you're the one who's going to get in trouble, not me. But it did a lot of damage to the relationship at the beginning of Josephine. Josephine wasn't even born yet, So, man, it's just been, it's been a roller coaster.
I got filled with anger, Venerable, and I just felt like they were such hypocrites. And like I had made a huge mistake.
This is more interesting for you, Venerable Lee? We thought it was just gonna be just all crying, There's some pop up in there, MMA stuff up in there. Okay.
It was horrible.
But okay, so this is what part of my guilt, because I feel like we're looked at as
like we went
violent.
We went there to do that, like
we're violent because I lived this life and we defended ourselves and we get pushed and I am pretty much a single parent and I'm very outspoken and I feel like certain type of individuals think of it's offensive because a woman is supposed to be humble and look down and like my first marriage and I'll be damned if I'll ever be that. I'm outspoken and I'm going to tell it and maybe I'm in the right, maybe I'm in the wrong, but I'm never going to let anybody in general make me feel, well, and it's not how they feel, but do that to me, and some men find that offensive or they find it like maybe my daughter is a spit image of me in a negative way because her anger, her, all that comes from not having good parents, or because maybe the other parents didn't behave that way or, but I'm sure there's other issues, you know what I mean? But it's so much easier to not be able to look, reflect and look at the mirror and looking right back to you and it takes a strong individual to be able to see, like, oh, you know what, I need to work on this. You know what, I'm not a badass like I thought I was. You're right, I do have faults as well. I'm trying to do that, not for anybody else, but for me, because I want to live to be 100. And part of that is living that optimum life that I so much talk to everyone about. And part of that is not being so angry and not reacting to when it's coming at you. Like, well, okay, let me just move out of the way. Let me see how I'm going to respond to this without offending anybody else, but telling it how it should be.
Yeah.
The whole thing is regrettable, and I feel like it's all my fault. Regrettable. I tore the very fragile, rice paper? Like, I feel like that all just fell onto me. Like, had I just reacted differently or just not reacted at all and waited till the next day to confront Austin, like, things could have been so much different. But I feel like I have so much guilt.
Let me share this powerful and comical but true story with all of you. Fights in families happen all the time. Like I've said before, a lot of families don't like the other families just because they'll find something that they don't like. We're Catholic, they're Buddhists, they're Muslims, they're Jews, whatever the case may be. They black, us white, we white, they black. They would just find something, right? So my mom, there was a lot of violence in the paternal and maternal side of the family. Of course, I wasn't even born yet, but my mom got her butt kicked a couple times by a lot of people in the paternal side of the family. And then as I grew older and gathered data and information and evidence, and of course now in this position to judge wisely, assess, evaluate, and judge. And judge means to evaluate and assess, not like, hey, you're going to go to hell, I'm going to sentence you to hell type judge. And I don't think I did tell her. And there was a time I made my relationship with me and my mom very public to the world. So the whole world knows we fight every 6 months until this very present day. And I once told my mom, and I'm like, Mom, do you realize that the things that you do and that you are still doing until present day, why you done had got beat up by two different people of the paternal side of the family? It's comical. I can't stop laughing about it because the unwillingness to change and the fact that she's Asian and belongs to a Buddhist country and doesn't practice in the Buddhist ways, which is to tame your ego. Above all, tame the ego, the me, the my, and the I. Me, my, I. If you think about it, the me, the my, and the I. Look at how we say it. She did that to me. He did this to me. My feelings. Like when we look at that, the compounding of the ego, the proliferation of the ego, the expounding of the ego, it all traces back the ego that causes us so much suffering. And then I'm just like, Mom, you are 64 this year. You are still doing it. You are still doing it, Mom. Like, do you not see the pattern? Do you not see the frequency? And I just shake my head. SMH, shake my head. And so it's, but these things happen, everything happens for a reason. And I don't blame, y'all should never blame yourself because people do these things out of foolishness and ignorance. Truly. If you think about it, the teachings of the Buddha has been around 2,566 years. The teachings of Christ has been around for 2,000 years. And everything that Jesus says to do, people don't do. They don't even keep one commandment. Nonetheless, the other million laws that they've made, right? Men made millions of laws, thousands of laws in the law book. Criminal law, traffic law, you name it. Civil law, HIPAA law. But if you don't keep the basic 10 commandments, they don't really matter. That's why people fight. People fight because they don't listen. And people who listen don't fight. I'm telling you, this life is comical. You have to look at it in a very comical way, or else we could take things very seriously on many angles of what has transpired in our complex history. All right, so so now you feel like you're not alone, right? Even the venerable's mother got her butt kicked. So
you, you understand.
over and over again, like 3 times at least 3 times in recorded history. For the other things that it was not recorded in history, God Lord knows what. But she's one quite of a stubborn woman. I can tell you that. All right, so moving forward, that the nature of relationships is as such, right? What is the true nature of reality of relationships? There's ups and downs, there's trauma, there's arguments, there's fights, there's abuse in a lot of relationships. Why? What is the root cause of this? Well, because school doesn't teach us how to love. We all can see that very clearly, right? Generation after generation after generation, they don't teach you how to love. And we are basically enslaved by our emotions and the causes and conditions of our own trauma since we were a baby. You know, when babies are born, they're like little tape recorders. And everything they see and they hear, they just grab it all in. And then it leads to attachment issues, also known as attachment theories, as in Bowen's theory of attachment. And so that you know, so we're born with these very colored lens in our lives, not seeing things clearly. So we're gonna respond the way that we're gonna respond, and you're going to react the way that you do, as the Puerto Rican, the Mexican, the Cuban, the Dominican that you are. And I'm going to react the Vietnamese that I am. Notice the Vietnam War, you know, well, too bad I'm from the South, so we lost. But if I was from the North, I could say, yeah, look at the Vietnam War. It caused a lot of damage, and even the U.S. had to withdraw. But I have that aggressive blood that Vietnamese are born with, naturally, right? So, of course, people are going to respond the way that they respond. You know, it's like we're the only type of species and animals that has the ability to think and attach on to ideas and concepts and take things very personally. We put you on a boat, and if you expect the boat not to leak, you're in for a rude awakening. I put you on a plane, and you expect the plane not to have turbulence, you're in for a rude awakening. Then you're going to experience turbulence and get pissed off, and you want your refund back from American Airlines. I put you on a boat and it leaks, you're going to be like, oh, hell no, it leaks. Oh, no. So my point is that the true nature of life and reality, there's up, downs, fights, abuse, trauma, addiction, drugs. We all got it. We all go through it. Most of us, the rare 0.01% that don't go through it, those are supremely blessed. But for the rest of us, me, myself, venerably, you know, I've tried all the drugs in the world, have gone through relationships, heartaches, headaches. Forgive yourself. So my point is to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself and see the true nature of reality of life. And people hold grudges and resentments and anger because they don't know how to let go also, you know. People don't teach you how to love, and they don't teach you how to let go. So you love and you think it's love, and you love in the wrong way, and you know, you crouching tiger, hidden dragon. And then people take that very personally, and then, you know, they're like, well, she did that in front of my dad, and our family is ruined because of what she did. It's just like, calm down. You know, the Buddha coming down from the heavens, the Buddha would say, calm your asses down. Stop taking it so personal. Everyone does this. It's not just your family. Look at the Jones next door, you know? The Jones next door even went to jail, you know? And somebody got a broken nose, somebody got bodily disfigurement, broke a leg, you know, boo-hoo. Let it go. Start over. Now, with the emergence, the awareness of these teachings that you all can borrow, can use to hang on to live wisely and intelligently, to repair what needs to be repaired, to do what needs to be done, to know what needs to be known, and practice what needs to be practiced. That is what's most salient and important moving forward. So I hope that this simple explanation helped you all not beat yourselves up. The mom that you are, the daughter that you are, the human that you did the best you possibly could. Who's gonna blame you? Well, shame on you. You weren't around for your kids. Shame on you. For what? Shame on them for what? They couldn't do any better because they didn't know any better. With the time that you had, with the people that you were with, and the resources that was available to you, you deserve forgiveness. Period.
Thank you.
Period. Should never beat yourself up because, just all of us go through this. And it's like, I couldn't do anymore. I couldn't do any better because no one told me. No one sat there and told me what needed to be done in the right way, in this manner, in this chronological order, in order to make peace, in order not to get angry, Being human, we're always going to learn. Every day we make mistakes. And expect more of it in the near foreseeable future. It doesn't stop here. It doesn't stop here. So what's important now is to look at the things that we have identified so far. And how humble you all sit in front of me to say, yeah, I do have anger. I got that. I got communication issues. I got that. I'm blunt. I'm forward. It's who I am. Now this is where we start. Now we learn the how. So what is the how? For Maria, I think NVC, nonviolent communications, would help. It's not what you think it is. The words are like horrendous, right? It doesn't mean like you're out there, threatening people like a terrorist.
I don't think I'm not taking it like that at all. But thank you for explaining.
Yeah, because nonviolent, like, oh, you calling me violent? Oh my God, I'm not violent. I'm all rainbow. The NVC is by Dr. Marshall Rosenberg. And it's actually a book for most nurses, for midwives, actually. RNs, midwives, and professionals in the field, for police, lawyers, and HR. Because it helps you slow down a little bit and look at how information is coming in, what we're doing here, and how we're reinterpreting and saying it. Look, if you ever listen to my one-on-one sessions, you already got a glimpse of most of it so far. I'm also straightforward. I'm also blunt. I am who I am. But I screen myself before I say things under Buddhism, under right speech. Is it true? Is it beneficial? Is it necessary? And is the timing of this speech correct? So NBC also helps you with that. Kind of slow down a little bit to choose words more wisely, more intelligently, more slowly, in order to get things done and get what you want. It's like, Mom, I need to get my mom to understand me right now. But if your physiology is, like the pumping of the chest, the breathing is increased, nothing is good's gonna happen if you speak. So perhaps take a walk, lake, beach, ocean, meditate, and then come back with a clear, calm mind. So the cultivation of unfailing patience, to try to have that in your head, and unfailing patience, enduring patience, and it is patience that will mend our soul, our spirit, and humanity. Notice that most fights is because of lack of patience in the world. And what a world of regret, deep sense of regret, when we realize our mistake because of lack of patience, the one thing that is so difficult, yet so simple to comprehend and understand conceptually, intellectually. So perhaps nonviolent communication. That's all over the internet. It's all over YouTube. And then cognitive behavioral therapy. So now all three of you guys will be studying cognitive behavioral therapy, of which all nurses and doctors have to know. Um, so learn it yourself so that you guys, number one, learn it together. And it's a tool, a good, wise conversation, a useful thing to talk about amongst all three of you guys instead of sitting there playing Monopoly together or spin the bottle, because those are entertainment and they don't really contribute to your growth and development during the mending process, during the process of trying to fix what we're fixing now. So it's good to now go back to the drawing board, looking at the blueprints of the way how we communicate, how we love each other, how we communicate that love. It's like, I love you. You know that I love you. But do you say enough of it? Do you express it? Right? And often, and like you have identified previously, that I'm hearing to respond, to fix the problem, and not to actually listen to her heart and what her heart is trying to communicate with me. So but now let's also write it down. Because what we speak today, thank goodness, is recorded, because if it's not recorded, you guys would forget. So now we also go back to journaling, which is what I tell everybody all the time over the past 8-9 years, is to write it down so that you own it, you see it, and you read it again, and the power of writing is very powerful, very therapeutic, narrative exposure therapy. And the reminding and the planning process on renewing ourselves, revitalizing ourselves, and re-energizing ourselves as the mother that we are, renewing ourselves as the daughter that we are, and renewing ourselves as a human as a whole, as the son and daughter of God, and as the son and daughter of the Buddha, of the universe. So it's wise to write things down so that you hold yourself responsible. I'm not going to be here all the time because of traveling agendas coming up. So I hope that you guys take my words as gold, platinum, diamonds in your heart as the how. Jesus taught the what, Buddha taught the how. And exactly the how that we're going to live a better life. A good life equals to good death. So I like to meet with each of you guys once a week, if you like, in order to make this an accelerated process, an accelerated program, so that you can report to me what you've learned in the CBT. Now, Melanie already have firsthand experience of what happens when you don't follow recommendation and advice from the Office of the Wise. In regards to not really taking CBT seriously, you saw that the gap in the months of not checking in with me, you saw the consequences, right? Of how it leads our mind to hell, just complete hell. Now, that's what happens. The Buddha said 2 things. Take care of your thoughts when you are alone, and to be careful. He failed. And to be careful. I'm just saying he's awake. And to be careful what to say to others when you are. Be careful what you say to others when you're with them, right? Take care of your thoughts when you are alone, and to be careful what you say when you are around other people. When we are alone, a lot of thoughts come up. A lot of thoughts about the past. We know that from research. 30% of the past, 60% in the future. That's anxiety, bills I gotta pay, and so on. And only 10% is in the present moment. So we got it down to a science of what needs to be done. But thank goodness you exercised your intelligence, Miss Melanie, to come back, or else you would be very, very, very lost. Very, very in the deep, like Titanic level deep end, right? Because the more intelligent we are, the deeper we sink for some odd reason, the more intelligent we are, we get ourselves into that type of trouble, and the magnitude and depth of our suffering and pain and troubles. So it is I who, kind of like reach down and like, okay, we gonna pull you right back up quite fast, you know, fast, quick, so that you can breathe in the midst of kids on your shoulders, bills in your face, and things that weighs down your heart, like family issues. All right. So today we identify the problem and we came up with preliminary solutions so far. However, it's going to be very effective, but it is preliminary because there's going to be more work to be done. The human heart condition and human anger is not an easy, quick fix. Old habits die hard. It took me close to 15 years to conquer my own anger, nonetheless other humans. And that is me using the best available science and teachings that the world has to offer, which is teachings of Christ, Buddha, psychology, all three modalities to cure my anger, of which sometimes proliferates from time to time. It doesn't mean that it was completely cured. Sometimes it comes back like a cold, and he just so happens to get the long end of the stick. so all of this makes sense so far. Any questions so far?
Makes sense. Sense.
Okay. So let's reflect after today's talk. Let's reflect on what we have spoken about. Anything that is still burning from the past, anything that weighs heavy in your heart about the past, you must write it down. You must now think of as young as you can remember and write it down so that it gets out of your subconscious, so it's no longer sitting there rent-free in your head. It has consumed you for so long. We need to stop that from consuming you for so long. And one of the best way to do it is to put it down in writing in a journal. And once it's down there, majority of it is out of you so that you can focus on the present and to now relearn. Learn to let go, learn to relearn things, learn to unlearn things. Learn to unlearn all the things that did not serve you. And now let's learn to be beautiful again. That's my goal for you. But this is the how we're going to do it. And you must really take this advice like it's emergency medicine in your veins. If you just think that, writing is dumb, I haven't wrote for a long time, and think of excuses to escape, you would not be doing you and your relationships justice. You would be cheating yourselves. And it would be your suffering, not mine. Not mine. So this is, the Buddha says, you must save yourself. You must save yourself. No one can and no one may save you. Right? So don't wait for Jesus to save you. You need to adhere to the advice of the Buddha to do your best and do your part. Right? Because who are you going to blame? Even if Jesus is going to save you, well, it's going to be like towards death. So on your death and dying bed, which we have seen in palliative care, literally you're going to do a life review, and who are you going to blame? It's like, yeah, well, I just lived my life waiting for somebody else to save me. I didn't do the effort. I didn't study what needed to be studied. I didn't know what needs to be known, and I didn't practice what needs to be practiced. I just left it for fate. I left it to destiny. So a lot of people have this false thought. Literally, they have miscalculated. And they say in life, my dad says in life, whatever you calculate, don't miscalculate. Like that long drive from you to her and her to you. Yeah, don't miscalculate the gas money, because if you don't have gas to get there, you might just get stuck in the middle of the desert. So you have miscalculated. Don't miscalculate. So everybody understands the point, right? So I explain it, and then I give little examples so it kind of sticks up there. Okay. Any questions so far?
No.
All right. So given the time, I just want to give a little small ease you guys in a little warm. And there's more work to be done, so we'll reserve that so that I can see how you guys are adhering to the program that I'm putting you on, right? So I just want to, I need to measure from a scientific level how you do. So if I talk too much, you will forget. If I give too much recommendations, you're gonna be like, damn, that's too much. I need a drink. So so we'll start from there, and I want I would like to see this to bloom like beautiful flowers in the next couple of months. quick rapid quick rapid medicine, quick rapid water on fire. And the fire of anger, the fire of resentment, and the fire of missing each other. It's fire. It burns in our hearts. So that's what the Buddha taught me to do, is to how to put out the flames little by little, so that the flame each day does not grow blue. Blue flame is rough and tough to put out. So today we identify what those flames were in your hearts. And so I'd like to conclude today's session and move towards the precept for Melanie. Ooh. Is that okay with you, Miss Melanie? Or will you have time for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Before we move to the precept, let me just review one last time. Writing down the past, if the past is still bothering you. Reflect into a journal. Dear journal, today I spoke to a monk, and this is what he told me, and this is what we discussed about. This is what I heard from my daughter. This is what I heard from my mom. These are the concerns in their hearts. This is the things that I want to do. These are the things that I promise to do, so that I become a better mom and daughter for the sake of our future, and to maximize our enjoyment for life, for the remaining balance of my life, and with the time that I am given on this earth. Okay. The monk told me to visit NVC, November, NVC, Nonviolent Communication, by Dr. Rosenberg, so that I may know how to communicate more effectively and efficiently, not with just my daughter, but people who are around me. And the introduction to cognitive behavioral therapy, which is available online, or a book by Wilson and Branch. Yeah, cognitive behavioral therapy by Wilson and Branch. And then after that, we will move into Buddhism. But we need to get past these two preliminary necessity before we move into Buddhism. And Buddhism will help you more with mindfulness, forgiveness, letting go. And so it's going to be a very beautiful thing to watch and unfold. And you will be proud of yourself, because this will be done by and through your own efforts. You did this by yourself, and for the sake of the betterment of the whole family unit and systems. Okay, so I have done a good, comprehensive, and effective review, so everyone knows what is going to happen. I am charged with this task and responsibility from other senior teachers who are watching, and they're going to make sure that, did you give them the right advice? And did you make sure you wrap it all up at the end? So I have teachers on top of teachers that to make sure that I'm doing my job. Okay, so as we move on to the precept, let me pull this on my screen here.
I have to turn you sideways, Venerable. I hope that you can still see us.
Okay, I'm going to try to do this in Pali, which is the original language of the Buddha. Previously, I told you I limit Pali because not a lot of people understand it, and it is more of the intention. In Buddhism, it is karma, and karma has to do with intention. And intention is you willfully, knowingly, and intentionally engage into such thinking, such speech that led to such actions. And so you will reap what you sow. Even thinking of anger itself, even angry thoughts and anger towards someone is enough to generate bad, negative karma for any humans. It was my standpoint that it is the intention of a human to take the precept, their intention, and promise to the world that they will keep these 5 basic precepts. That matters, and not necessarily the Pali version of it or the traditional way of doing it. However, today, in the presence of Venerable Lee, that we do it according to Venerable Yutatamo's recorded session. So I know that you do have the computer in front of you, right?
Yes.
Oh. Mm. Okay, so if you could put your hands together, Venerable Lee, you could put your hands together, and Miss Melanie, if you can.
Together. I'm we're gonna have to put you sideways, Venerable.
Sure.
Okay. Did you want me to pull something up on the laptop?
No, all of my social media is tied up right now, so I'm just going to say it. You're going to repeat it, and I'm going to say it in English. I'm going to say it in both languages. The whole duration is 5 minutes, according to the guide that Yutatamo left us in taking the precepts and the 3 refuge. So it may stretch to 7 minutes. So if you can put your hands together and repeat after me. Arahang Samma Sambuddho.
Arahang Samma Sambuddho.
Bhagawa.
Bhagawa.
It means undefiled, perfectly self-enlightened, is the Blessed One. And this is to refer to the Buddha. Buddhang Bhagawatang Abhivandami To the Buddha, the Blessed One, I pay respect. Swatgato Bhagavata Thammo Self-proclaimed is the teaching of the Blessed One. Dhammang Namasami. To the Dhamma, I respect, and the Dhamma is the teachings of the Buddha. Supatipanno Bhagavato. Supatipanno Bhagavato. Sawaka Sangho. Well practiced are the disciples of the Blessed One. Sanghang Namami. To the Sangha, I pay respect. The Sangha is the monastic order of the Buddha. Mayang Bante. Ti Sarana Nena
Nena.
Nena.
Saha.
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 Panja.
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 Silani.
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 Yachama.
Yachama.
Venerable Sir, we request the 3 refuge and the 5 precepts.
ติสรเนนะสหปัญจศีลานิยาจามาทุติยามปิมยังพัน
Dutiyambi
Dutiyambi.
Mayang Bante.
Mayang.
Mayang Bante.
Tisaranena.
Saranena.
Saha Panja.
Saha Panja.
Saha Panja.
Silani.
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 Yachama.
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 Venerable Sir, a second time.
ติสรเนนะสหปัญจศีลานิยาจามาตติยามปิม
Tatiyambi Mayang
Satyampi.
Satyami Mayang.
Bante.
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 Tisarana Nena.
Sarana Nena.
Saha Panja.
Saha Panja.
Saha Panja.
Silani.
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 Yachama.
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 Venerable Sir, a third
พ
time.
ยาพันเตติสรเนนะสหปัญจศีลานิยาจามา
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะ
And this is my part. This is my part. You all can put your hands down now. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
โตอะระหะโต
Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the rightly self-awakened
นะโมตัส
One.
สะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ
นะโมตัสสะ
And now you will repeat Namo tassa
Namo Tassa.
with your hands together, back together. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato
Bhagavato Arahato.
Nahato.
samma sambuddhassa.
Sama
Sama Sambuddhassa.
ภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมา
One more time. Namo tassa
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโต
bhagavato arahato
Bhagavato
Arahato. Arahato.
samma sambuddhassa.
Sama
Sama Sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa
Namo
Namo
Tassa.
Tassa.
bhagavato
Bhagavato
Arahato.
arahato
Arahato.
Arahato.
samma sambuddhassa.
Sama
Sama
Sambuddhassa.
Sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang
Buddha
Saranang
Saranga Tatami.
I go to the Buddha for refuge.
สารนังคัจฉามิ
ธัมมะ
Dhammang saranang
Dhamma
Tama
Saranang
Sarana.
gacchami.
Gacchami.
Tatami.
I go to the Dhamma for refuge. Sanghang saranang
Sanghang
Sangham
Saranang
Sarana.
gacchami.
Gacchami.
Tatami.
I go to the Sangha for
อัง
refuge.
สารนังคัจฉามิ
ธรรมังสารนังคัจฉามิ
สังฆังสารนังคัจฉามิ
สังฆังสารนังคัจฉามิ
ทุติยัมปิพุทธังสารนัง
Dutiyambi Buddhang
Dutiyampi
Utidami. Buddha.
saranang gacchami.
Saranang Gacchami.
Sarana Gacchami.
Dutiyambi Dhammang
Dutiyampi
Udiyami. Dumi. Santa.
Dutiyambi Dhammang
Dutiyampi
Udiyami.
ธัมมัง
สรณังกัจจามิ
สารนังกัจจา
สารนังคัจฉามิ
ดุติยัมปิสังฆัง
ทุติยม
ดุ
ปิ
ติยัมปิสังฆัง
สรณังกัจจามิ
สารนังกัจ
สา
จาร
นังคัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิบุตถัง
ปาติยัมปิพุทธัง
สรณังกัจจามิ
สารนังกัจ
สา
จาร
นังคัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิ
ตาติยัมปิ
ธัมมังสรณัง
ธัมมัง
ธัมมังสารนัง
กัจจามิ
กัจจามิ
คัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิสังฆัง
ตติยมปิ
ตาติยัมปิสังฆัง
สรณังกัจจามิ
สารนังกัจ
สา
จา
นังคัจฉามิ
You all can put your hands down now.
คัจฉามิ
ทุติยัมปิพุทธังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ตุติยัมปิธัมมังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ทุติยัมปิธัมมังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ตุติยัมปิสังฆังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ทุติยัมปิสังฆังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิพุทธังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิพุทธังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิธัมมังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิธัมมังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิสังฆังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิสังฆังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ติสรณะคัมมนัง
ติสรณากัมมนังนิติตัง That's for me, that's for me.
อาสรณังคัจฉามิ
ติสรณะคัมมนังนิ
This ends the going forth for refuge.
ติตัง
อาพันเต
ปะ
And now you will say ahang pante.
อาหังบันเต
ปานาติปาตา
And now we enter into taking the 5 precepts. You will repeat after me. Panati pata,
ปานาปิ
ปานาติตาตา
Veramani sikha,
เวระ
เวรมณีสิกขา
Patang,
พัตัง
ปัจจัง
Samadhiyami.
สมาธิยา
ปัจจังปิยามิ
I undertake the training rule to refrain from taking life.
I undertake the training rule to refrain from taking life. I
เว
undertake
ร
the
มณี
training
สิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
ปานาติปาตา เวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
อดินา
Adina dana,
อดี
อาทินาดานา
Veramani sikha,
เวระมณี
เวรมณีสิกขา
Patang samadhiyami.
พัตังเสีย
ปะทังสมาธิยามิ
I undertake the training rule to refrain from stealing.
I undertake the training rule to refrain from stealing.
ดานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
อาทินนาทานา เวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
กาเมสุมิ
Game sumi
กาเม
กาเมสุมิ
jajara,
จาจาระ
จาจาระ
Veramani sikha,
เวระมณี
เวรมณีสิกขา
Patang samadhiyami.
พัตังสกา
ปะทังสมาธิยามิ
I undertake the training rule to refrain from sexual misconduct.
เวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
กาเมสุมิชาจารา เวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
I undertake the training rule to refrain from sexual misconduct.
I undertake the training rule to refrain from sexual misconduct.
มุสาวาทา
Musawata,
มุสา
มุ
วะ
สาวาทา
Veramani sikha,
เวระมณี
เวรมณีสิกขา
Patang samadhiyami.
พัตังสมา
ปะทังสมาธิยามิ
I undertake the training rule to refrain from telling lies.
I undertake the training rule to refrain from telling lies.
เวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
มุสาวาทาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
สุราเมรยะมัจจปมา
สุราเมรยะ
สุราเมรยะ
มัจจพะมา
มัจจตามา
ดะทานา
ดัตถานา
เวรมณีสิกขา
เวรมณีสิกขา
ปะทังสมาธิยามิ
ปะทังสมาธิยามิ
I undertake the training rule to refrain from intoxicants
I undertake the training rule to refrain from intoxicants
that lead to carelessness.
that lead to carelessness.
อาทัฏฐานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
สุราเมรยะมัชฌะปมาทัฏฐานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
อิมานิปัญจสิกขาปทานิ
This is just for me. Imani pancha sikha padani. These are the 5 training rules. Sile na sukating yanti. Through virtue they go to a good born.
สีเลนะสุขติยันติสีเลนะโภคสัมปทา
Sile na boka sampada. Through virtue is wealth attained.
สีเลนะนิพุติยันติ
Sile na nibuting yanti. Through virtue they go to liberation.
ตัสมาสีลังวิโส
Tasma silang visod haye. Therefore, we should purify our virtue.
ทาเย
สาธุ
You all will repeat after me. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
สาธุสาธุสาธุ
You all can put your hands down now. This concludes.
สาธุ
So this concludes the refuge and the 5 precepts, and I just wanted to give you an overview, a quick, brief, comprehensive overview. Going for refuge, why do we go to the Buddha, the teachings of the Buddha, and the monastic order for refuge? Well, when things hit the fan in life, people have no idea where to look, where to run. When people are in trouble medically, they run to the hospital. When people are in trouble with the law, they probably run to a lawyer's office. In life, there you will find yourself in trouble at times, things that will trouble your heart psychologically. The Buddha teaches us how to achieve peace by and through psychological training. He was considered the world's first philosopher and psychologist. So when in doubt, and when things hit the fan in your life, go to the Buddha for refuge. Go to a nearby monastery because you will find comfort and peace and joy there. Go to the teachings of the Buddha for refuge. Ask for protection because it gives you the how not to be angry, how not to get shot by following the teachings of the Buddha. Go to the Sangha, the monastic order, because we are the living teachings of the Buddha. Since he passed, his image and everything about him is still alive today by and through the monastic order. We took the precepts ourselves. We keep 227 rules with thousands of amendments so that we do not cheat, lie, kill, and steal, refrain from sexual misconduct, not to sleep on high beds. We cannot engage in entertainment. We cannot have sex. And we have to dedicate our body, speech, and mind for purity in order to lead by example so that other people can see and be inspired by such example. Likewise in life, when we want to inspire other people, that we do so by and through our example. If we want our sons and daughters to be peaceful and be at peace, we must meditate. As they come home and see their mom in the middle of the living room meditating, they too will replicate that, because it will start a shift in change. In you starts a shift in change in other people in your life. Okay, as we move to the 5 precepts, the general explanation of the precepts, the first one is not to take life, do not kill anything that is living and breathing. The Buddha says that if you take a life, then your life will too be shortened, then there will be pain and suffering, additional pain and suffering in your life. And the total opposite can be said, that if you extend the life of another, buying through, for example, merit release, which is the buying and purchasing of certain animals like fish, birds, turtles, and if you let them go, then you are extending the life of another, and that your life will too be extended, and you will have less pain and suffering physically and mentally. The next precept is on stealing. Do not take what is not given to you. So don't utilize your intelligence by saying finders keepers on the beach. I found this diamond ring on the beach. Finders keepers. No. It was not freely given to you. Do not take what is given. If you take something that is not given to you, then karma will take its course and things will be randomly missing in your life. Your car keys, your wallet, money, and so on. These are the gifts of safety to the world and to your community and to your family. When you promise that you will not take what is not given, people can leave phones, bracelets, necklaces, iPhones, iPads in a monastery at a temple and not worry someone's going to steal it because of this explanation and the intention behind not taking what is not given. Okay. The third precept is abstain from conduct in regarding sense pleasures, sexual misconduct, sense pleasures. You can also say that the extreme of really addicted to certain substances, sex, drugs, addictions, improper, illicit sexual relations. With the emergence of our society, and there are certain people out there who likes to have multiple relationships, one of the pressing questions under refrain from sexual misconduct is if all parties consent to it and no one is hurt physically and psychologically, if their heart is not hurt on the grounds of cheating, anything that constitutes cheating, that means looking at porn, talking to people on dating sites, things that your partner is not known, things that are not uniform, not visible, and not transparent to your partner, then if they are hurt mentally or physically, then you are causing them harm. The Buddha have said that if you can't help them, at least don't harm them. And again, these are the gifts of safety in regards to relationships and keeping yourself safe, not getting STDs, not getting in trouble with the law, with rapes, and so on and so on. Number 4, abstinence from false speech. Here it says 4 factors entering the offense of false speech: an untrue state of affair, the intention of deceiving another, the effort to express either verbally or bodily, and the conveying of false impression to another. Pretty much, to keep it simple, always think nice thoughts. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it beneficial? And is the timing of this speech correct for this particular individual at the time? Are they capable of understanding? Are they capable of knowing what it is that you're conveying? Is it beneficial for you and for them? Every day we use our speech to inspire other people, to pick fights, to resolve problems, to heal broken relationships. And here the Buddha wants you all to investigate into his teachings, of which I will send to you to your email to look further into the elements of right speech and false speech. And of course, as we do this, we also inspire other people to be beneficial and to be truthful and honest in their day-to-day living and day-to-day communication with each other. Mind you, all saying the wrong thing not only wages war in the home, but it wages war in the world amongst countries as our leaders fail to follow the advice of the Buddha. Number 5, the last precept is abstain from intoxicating drinks and drugs as it leads to heedlessness, which is you get a little too drunk, you don't remember what planet you're on, and thus it will encourage you to violate the other precepts. When you are not mindful, not right in the mind, don't know where you're at, what you're doing, who you're doing it with, why you're doing it, then it will lead to extreme carelessness that can lead to legal problems, divorces, separations, and the untold pain and sorrow, the sea and ocean of pain and sorrow due to lack of carelessness. One word can be described what Buddhism is about, and that would be mindfulness. To be always aware of what you're doing. If you're sitting, know that you're sitting. If you're breathing, know that you're breathing. When you are doing things, know that you're doing it. If you drive, just drive. When you text, just text. When you are going to the bathroom, just go to the bathroom. Don't drag no magazine in there. Don't try to look at Netflix while you're going to the bathroom. These are the direct words of the Buddha. He said these things because he wants you to apply mindfulness in everything that you do in life, in every single activity that you do. And with that type of heedfulness leads to great joy and the enrichment of enjoying the present moment with your loved ones, with your children, with your family, with your mom, with your dad, that it will lead to great happiness knowing that you're seizing the present moment. The precious present is what he wanted you to know and understand and live every day. Giving the short, comprehensive compression of the explanation of the 5 precepts. Does anyone have any questions so far?
Nope. You've explained it very well.
Okay. So again, this also for both of you to research into Buddhism, the Four Noble Truths, the 5 precepts, as will assist you in your growth and development in understanding the teachings of the Buddha effectively. We assert that Buddhism is the most comprehensive and effective educational system the world has ever seen. 84,000 teachings for as young as they can comprehend to all the way to the sick, old, and dying. There's always something in the 84,000 teachings that will help you through life. And feel free to reach out to the monastic order, us, anyone that is in Buddhism, to ask for clarity, to ask for counseling. We are trained. Most of us are trained. Make sure that they are qualifying, good, authentic, qualifying teachers to receive your counseling. Be aware that there are people out there who are not real, who charges money. And the school that I belong to is the school of the elders, the Theravadins, and we do not charge money for any reason. The only thing we can ask you for is a cup of water. We cannot ask you for a ride down the street. We cannot ask you for anything else. And that is what is right about this particular school of Buddhism, which is the school of the elders, the Theravadins. So given said all of the disclosures that is required of me as a teacher in giving you the blessings, I encourage both of you all to continue studying and practicing and to reflect everything that has been done here. And I will shift over to Venerable Lee for some words of encouragement on his end. Venerable Lee.
I would just like to tell both of you that it's amazing that you guys reached out, that you guys are putting the effort towards each other and other people as well. And the fact that everybody's willing to tell their own flaws, acknowledge them, be aware of them, and be actively willing to, intentionally and wanting to try and correct and fix those. I think that's really amazing. So don't give up and keep up the good work.
in the scriptures that a person can in fact achieve sainthood and full enlightenment on the words of a novice monk. He need not to be a fully ordained monk. He need not to be a bhikkhu in order for you to be fully enlightened and or achieve arahantship, one of 4 stages of enlightenment. So therefore, don't never underestimate the power of even a novice monk, and that is what he is, a novice monk. The word venerable means one who is worthy of veneration, to held in deep respect. And we hope to live our life as an example for worthy of that respect from the people. But given said that, rejoice and be glad today that we're making progress, and I look forward to future progresses with each and every single one of you. Okay?
Okay. Thank
May you all be well.
And Venerable.
Yes, if you put your
Thank
hands
you so
together
much.
for a final blessing. Yatha varipaha pura pari purantisa karang evumewa ito dinang petanang upakapati ichitang patitang tumhang kipamewa samechatu sape purantu sankapa jando panyaraso yatha manicho tiraso yatha sapi tiyo viwancantu sa parogo avina satumate bhavanto antarayo sugi dihayuko Bawa abiwan dan sile seni chang buta bacanino chataro thamma watandi ayuano sokang palang bawatu sa pamangkalang rakan tu sa padiwata sa babuta nuvawe nasada soti bawan tute bawatu sa pamangkalang rakan tu sa padiwata sa pasangha nuvawe nasada soti bawan tute. May you realize the light of your own true nature. May you be healed and be a significant source of healing for other people. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, alrighty. We have concluded. And let me send this email to Miss Melanie. Melanie, what's your email again? Just the first couple of letters?
Melon, like the fruit. Knee, like your kneecap.
To Melon. You probably sent...
Melon, me. There you go.
I got
O-N.
I got it back here in the text message here. Yeah, Melanie, keep on taking notes like you have. It's wonderful. Venerable Lee, glances through them. We're trying to fit everybody and everything in right now. So just a little patience so that we can glance through. We have hundreds of students that sends us messages. So, and I think your email was either all the way up here. Yeah, CBT. Oh, there it is. I spelled it wrong. Lani. Oh, got it.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's different. Sorry about that.
Yes, because you're 007 on the weekend.
Yeah.
Maria, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for sharing, being vulnerable, and leading us into your journey. I think Venerable Lee is learning a lot. He's only 21, so he's gathering a lot of information from counseling sessions like this that will help him better assist and help other families in the future.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time.
Take care. You guys have a wonderful weekend over there. And if you need us, reach out anytime, okay?
Thank you both so much.
Bye-bye. Okay. Everything died except this phone. All right. Thank you all for joining. Have a good one.